Hi, everyone. Welcome to this session today. Yes, we're going to be talking about don't sell yourself in, don't sell yourself short in business, right? And with me here today is an experienced entrepreneur who has agreed to come share lots of the insights she have gathered over the years in the person of Nikki Clarke. Please, over to you. Introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much. It's lovely to see you, Dr. Linda. Good evening, everyone. And again, thank you for this opportunity to share some of the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship. Yes, it's it's been a journey, and I think that there's a lot of lessons that I've learned along these years that I'm happy to share.
Thank you very much. Okay, for the sake of those watching, welcome to the show and listen to the end. We always, if you have question throughout this time, drop it as a comment. If you're watching live, we'll be able to see the question. I'll pick it and I'll ask her. This is aside the questions that I've prepared for her today. And if you're not watching live, you're watching this as a replay, do stay to the end as well so that you see the questions other people asked and the answers she was able to provide for it. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. What is the story behind the Nikki Clarke brand?
Well, thank you for that question. And the Nikki Clarke brand evolved over a number of years, and I think it first started in 2008 when I took a leap of faith and I left my career as an educator. I was a college instructor in the Faculty of Early Childhood Education and Community Development, and I was invited to be part of an online TV network, and they were called thatchannel.com. Now, mind you, this is 2008, so this kind of predates a lot of what is happening now with podcasts. It was still in its infancy stages, in developing online broadcasting. So I said, well, this is a really interesting way of sharing information. Pretty much anyone from anywhere around the world can tune in. Looks like it's a really amazing time to start. And I got involved that year, October 2008. I started a show, pitched it to the network owner, and I said, okay, I want to invite people to come on the show, share their heart stories, and particularly wanted to invite artists to come on the show and to perform live. And I'm also an artist, so what that did was it gave the artist an opportunity to show the raw talent without auto-tune and special effects, and also people to learn more about who they were. So I had no idea, Dr. Linda, that that year when I was, casting out a net to my Facebook friends, I sent a message asking people if they wanted to come on the show that year, if they could spend some time with me. My show is on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. So I took on a persona called Nix on the Mix. That was my radio personality or online personality. And so Nix on the Mix, looking for guests, keep it locked, Saturdays at 8 o'clock. So that was kind of the message. That's how it read when I sent it out on Facebook. I got a response from a few people, but one in particular from a young man, and his name was Abel. It still is Abel. Young, bright, talented. He said, I'd like to come on the show. So I told him, come on the show, but remember it's live. So let's pay attention to the parameters. And when you're performing, because he was a singer and a songwriter, you have to be really good. So he came on the show and he blew everybody's mind. And Dr. Patel, later in a few years, he would be known as The Weeknd. So what that did was it gave me this really big vision of where the show would go. I only kind of thought it would be a hobby. I'd be doing it on the weekends just to pass the time. But what it did from that point on, realizing who the guests were that came on the show and where they went, was kind of like an opportunity for me to create a platform to really have a way of I wouldn't say making people, but a way of giving people an opportunity to shine and to maybe being that kind of destiny placeholder for them, so that they could, sharpen their talents, through broadcasting, or even, having someone notice them and going into, the stratosphere of stardom, or even going on being interviewed and starting their own shows. I've had a number of people who were complete introverts, Dr. Linda, who came on the show and now have, thriving podcasts. So that's where it was for me. But for the brand in particular, it was always about positivity. It was always about transforming yourself. And the tagline of the show is transforming lives one story at a time. So it also ties in with authenticity and, daring people to take their mask off and to really reveal from a hidden place. And that the show would be their soft spot to land, to tell the truth about maybe something that they've never unpacked before. But they felt safe that they could do it through this vehicle of sharing information. And they had this kind of cathartic emotional release of sharing their story. And people who were listening were also being healed, because they would recognize that they were not alone in any particular isolated experience, that it was really a community around them that were going through the same thing. And the show is also providing resources for them so that they could get help. They could get unstuck, so to speak, in their professional or personal lives. So Dr. Linda, 16 years later, this is where the show has, taken its mission in transforming lives one story at a time, and also extending to that idea of, creating a community of conversations that matter. So underscoring authenticity and positivity is where the brand took it. And I'm happy to say that there's so many extensions of that show that opened up the Nikki Clarke network a few years later. And what that was a way to create services like video production, coaching, social media marketing as a specialty of mine, and also taking on interns to give them a cooperative experience in the media world, particularly young women who may feel maybe a little intimidated in other spaces because of their gender. They felt that they could come and get the training through me, so that they could do whatever they wanted to do, whether it would be graphic design, or if they wanted to go into broadcasting or writing, or anything related to production or broadcasting. They would come under my wing. So that's the Nikki Clarke network that came from the show. Then another area of that was my interest in fashion. And that opened up the doors to creating the Navon line, which has been around for about maybe 3 years. And Navon is actually my middle name. Navon means joy. And it's a line that celebrates joy through, body positivity, elegance through the clothes. And the clothes really reflect that. And the designs are very sophisticated, and they're also in sizes for every body. So from very small to a curvy woman, it reflects really the gamut of body beauty in women. And So that's another part of where the branding took it. Um, yes, and then there's the community service. People seeing what I was able to do through these different auspices and invited me to come on and support them through their projects. Most recently, I was working with the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce as their national business manager, and the project at hand was developing innovation hubs across Canada for Black entrepreneurs primarily. So these spaces were developed so that they could go in. They would have on the spot business advice available to them through trained business advisors, and the spaces would also give them an opportunity to network with other like-minded entrepreneurs, as well as having maybe training there. So that was put kind of in my world based on the work that I did initially with the Nikki Clarke show. So that's how it kind of evolved. And I'm still continuing to do work with other partners, some amazing collaborations in enabling entrepreneurs to hone in on their skills and to give them an opportunity to connect. That's the big piece. I think I'm a big connector, so I'm proud about that.
Amazing. What is interesting is how it's like a story, right? It's like it starts from one thing and then it begins to evolve. And I have a couple
Yes.
of questions. Let me start with the Navan line, the fashion line.
Sure.
Where can one
Yes.
get it today? Because I really would love to go check it out.
Oh, absolutely. You could just go online to navan.com, and Navan is spelled Navaan, and .com.
I see.
Yeah. So there's their clothes. Sorry to interrupt you. Their clothes, absolutely. There are jewelry. One of the latest items is my paperclip earrings here, based on one of the books that I just recently published, a children's book called The Paperclip Princess. So I thought, let's do some earrings based on that idea. And there's also skincare available on there. So yeah, let me know what you think.
No problem. I will definitely check it out. And also for those that are watching, check it out and see what you love to buy. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, Mother's Day is coming up, so a good time to buy something for that favorite lady in your life.
Sure. Okay. One of the follow-up questions I wanted to ask is the difference between the Nikki Clarke show and the Nikki Clarke network, which you've already explained that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the Chamber of Commerce that you work with right now, is it something that who can join? Is it a regional stuff or countrywide?
Yeah, I'm not with them, so to speak, as the project for me ended a few months ago, but it's a great mission, and they've been around for 6 years right now. And yes, anyone can join, not just a Black member, but it's open to anyone. The emphasis is to support Black entrepreneurship. And it's a nonprofit, and there are different ways that you can get involved, either volunteering, or you can become a member. And there's really interesting types of membership that you can look into to become a member.
Okay, so I think we've talked about the Navan line, which is the fashion line. Then concerning the Nikki Clarke network, so what are the services that you offer now or products?
Yes, so it's video production, definitely coaching, social media marketing. I do a lot of speaking engagements related to how to create a buzz, so to speak, publicity, promotion, marketing. And also, most recently, getting into virtual assistants. And what that means is putting together a team of virtual assistants around the world who are looking for opportunities to serve administrative tasks, whether it be sending out emails, email marketing campaigns, or lead generation. There's a team that I work with who can support entrepreneurs through this virtual assistance agency. So that's another part of the extensions of the Nikki Clarke network.
Okay, I understand that now. Okay, so who does the brand serve? The Nikki Clarke network, like who is it? Entrepreneurs or beyond entrepreneurs?
That's a great question, and based on just who has come, to work with me, I would say mostly entrepreneurs. We do have nonprofit organizations that contact me for like a project, kind of like a very um, kind of time sensitive project that they need some help in, maybe understanding how to put together a budget, or how to create an investment deck. That's something that I can do to support them, or getting the word out. So that's where they would contact me and ask me for supports in marketing their special event or their special project. But yeah, I would say, Dr. Linda, the majority are entrepreneurs, and from every walk of life. Yeah, from the those who are starting out, the startup entrepreneurs, or those who are seasoned. There's something with the organization that appeals to them, and they feel comfortable in working with me to help in whatever area they're needing support.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I would like us to even move further now into the main topic of the day, which is don't sell yourself short in business. Which I
Yes,
know you'll
yes.
be, giving us lots of insights and advice based on your experiences throughout this whole period where you have been, starting a show, running a show, starting other businesses under it, just like we've heard you say. So
Mhm.
um, what led you to believe that many entrepreneurs tend to undervalue themselves in business?
That's a great question, and I believe that because I've experienced it. When I left the education world and had this idea to start the show, I went in, um, dove in head first, and I think I should have spent more time researching and understanding the full picture before fully immersing myself into entrepreneurship. So that is something that I learned, and also going into this particular field of media, it is still primarily dominated by men. So I had to learn how to navigate those spaces where I was showing up as the only female, and more often than not, the only Black female, the only
Mhm.
Black woman in that space. So there were certain barriers that were presented to me, and I had to overcome them. And then there's also the financial aspect of going into business. I left a teaching position, so that was considerably safe in terms of when you're going to get your next pay. It's understood every 2 weeks. It's established what time it's going to hit your bank account. It's a deposit. When you're going into your own business, that's not the case. It's not always predicted when the money's going to be coming in, how often. And sometimes, Dr. Linda, it could be feast or famine. It could be really great
Mhm.
1 week, and then the next week is crickets. So these are
Mhm.
all the things that I wasn't really prepared for, and that I had to learn through. But now I understand uh, where some of the mistakes I made, and how what I'd like to share for those to help them improve their journey as an entrepreneur. And I have
Mhm.
to say, I think for anyone who's been in business up to 5 years, that's really the make or break years, because I don't believe that there really is anything as an overnight success. What it appears to be an overnight success may have taken up to 10 to 20 years to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I'll use the example of Drake. People would look at him, and it appears that he, magically became this incredible package of talent and, superstardom. And for some, it may seem that it happened overnight, but he actually started as a child star, as a Degrassi kid, and it took some time to develop, and then the artistry developed, and boom, years later, he is who he is, and um, that's just how it happens sometimes in business. It takes years.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, you're a hit. But that comes from just sticking with it, perseverance, and tenacity. And sometimes too, Dr. Linda, that you're the star before anyone else does. You know what I mean? That this vision is going to be amazing before anyone else can figure it out. And sometimes that means you're going to have to be your own cheerleader, because no one's going to get it. You're going to ask for help from family, and they're going to be like, you know what, just go back to teaching, or you're going to ask friends and strangers for investment, and they're going to be like, well, what are your numbers? What does this look like? And show me the demographics, and they're going to want statistics, and they're going to want this, because they're hesitant about putting the investment in your business. But deep down, that they're eventually going to get it. Well, just as I share that with you, that's actually what happened to me. And when I was in the early days when no one got it, I said, okay, one of these days, I feel like the same people who said no to me or thought I may have been crazy, leaving, teaching, they're gonna come back, and they're gonna maybe not say sorry, but they're just gonna kind of pretend that they said or denied or laughed at me, and just gonna want to be around me. And that's the case. Now I'm getting a lot of, oh, she's my girl. Oh yeah, I've known her for like years, but it's okay. Forgive them and stick to your vision. So some of the things that I've learned about not selling yourself short is, number one, really charge what you are worth. How often do people feel like getting into business, they have to charge what they think people want, and not recognizing the time they put into it, the overhead costs that are involved in whatever the product or the service is, just so that they can have that likability to, to kind of create that relationship. Well, I won't overcharge them now because I want them to stick around. Well, it'll probably work out for a short period of time, that kind of arrangement, but you may open up yourself to being taken advantage of. All right. So I always say, charge what you are worth and stick to that charge. Undervaluing your product or your services communicates lack of confidence, and it also sets up a little bit of a hard kind of it's a hard setup to break later on. So you've created this, expectation. It's going to be very hard for you to break it. Well, what do you mean? It's not $20. You always charge me $20. $50. Clutching their pearls. So charge what you are worth and stick to it. The other part that I have learned in, making sure that you don't undersell yourself in business is selling point, right, Dr. Linda? So what makes your brand or product or service different from the other business out there? There's tons of competition, but what sets you apart? Is it your cultural insight? Is it your own particular experience? Is it your customer service? Is it your innovation? What is it that sets you apart, and use that to create this experience that make people gravitate to you as a business. Okay. For example, for me, it was always going to be about positivity and authenticity, and transforming people, helping people get to their next level, personally or professionally. That was always going to be the values in my selling point. The third,
I have a question. How did you come up with those values? Like, how did you decide these were going to be your values, positivity and authenticity?
because it's what I wanted in my life. Those resonated with me. If they resonate with me, then it's easy for me to show up and transfer that message of positivity and authenticity, because it's a heart-centered set of values for me. So the same thing goes for any business. If it resonates with you, it's going to be very, I think, easy for people to understand that, and to have whatever message value you have for your business, they will be able to receive that. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
If you're selling something that you don't believe in, Dr. Linda, have you ever spoken to someone and they're talking to you, and you can tell they don't believe in what they're saying to you? You can pick it up right away, right?
Yeah.
So if you are focused on values that resonate with you, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times, people are going to understand that and resonate with you as a business. The point, Dr. Linda, is showcasing your wins. Sometimes startup businesses may have a difficult time sharing their wins because they think it's not being modest. And I think that modesty can make you invisible sometimes. Sometimes you have to talk about some of your successes, and it can be done tastefully. You can share a testimonial about the business relationship you had, especially if you get a glowing review from your client. You can ask them, would you mind writing a few words? Can I use that on my website? Can I share that on my social media? Or are you okay with that? And they're going to say yes. They're not going to have a problem with that more often than not. Or if you do like a successful partnership or collaboration, why can't you share that on social media? If you have a picture of an event and you could see the success radiating around it, why not post it? Make sure to tag all the people who are part of your collaboration. Don't leave them out, and say what people were saying. So showcasing your wins, very important in building yourself as an authority in business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about you've mentioned like you teach people how to treat you, right? And my question is, how can an entrepreneur do this in their own business?
It's showing up with integrity, and boundaries are very important in teaching people how to treat you. So what that looks like, Dr. Linda, is creating hours and times that people can reach you and how they may reach you. You can reach me Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. I'm available. You can reach me via email or my business number. Now, some people may test you with your boundaries and try to leave a nice little message for you at 3 a.m. on Instagram. Just wondering if you'll respond to them. And you could, if you want to be a nice person, but have you reinforced a boundary that your business is this and that? So when you do that, when you break your own boundaries, you're teaching the person that they can contact you all the time, right? So that is not really showing up well for yourself. So boundaries are really important to be communicated and reinforced. And that teaches people how to treat you. And also, as I mentioned before, with your prices for your services or your products, stick to them. Stick to them, because people talk. If they like something, they talk about it. If they don't like it, they'll talk about it. And if you are giving someone, for example, a really great price, a really great discount, and then to someone else, you're giving them, like a regular fee, God forbid they find each other and talk about this huge discount that happened, because that shows inconsistency. And whoever was not getting the discount is probably going to look at you like, wait a second, you took advantage of me, or you're inconsistent. What about this branding? You know what I mean? So you don't want anyone to kind of come back to you and kind of have any questions about your reputation. So be fair, be consistent, and keep your boundaries.
Mm. Yeah. So some of the things I've picked up from there is also communicating the boundaries and then reinforcing, because people are going to test those boundaries when you
They'll,
set them.
you got it. They'll always test. And I mean, and that's human nature. Sometimes I laugh at some of the tests that I get, but it's like, okay, Nikki, don't take it personally. It's a test. It's to see how far you go. And don't feel like a boundary means that you're not a nice person. I think you're a nicer person if you can show up in a way that you're not cranky because you have to people please to keep the relationship and cross that boundary. You'll be in a much better mind space if you stick to the boundary. You're happy, and that person understands, okay, no, you can't reach Nikki at 3 a.m. Not going to work. Make sure to keep the hours Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Sure. And in terms of articulating one's value, we've talked about pricing. One of how how do you suggest entrepreneurs know what to charge? Like, how do you get to know what to charge so that you're not charging below or too much, right?
Yeah. I think there are a couple of factors that you have to take a look at. When I started my Nikki Clarke Network Services, I did some research. I wanted to find out what was kind of the average price in the market, what was being charged, and then I had to factor in my own expertise, the years that went into it, and also the type of overhead that I have. So you put all that together, and then you try to come up with something that is that works for you. And sometimes it means that it's more than the market value or whatever is the average of the cost of that service or product on the market. But it will justify itself when you connect with a client and they'll say, well, that's $50 more, just for example, than what I typically would pay. But you would have to share with them, okay, well, I have a pages of testimonials. I've been doing this for 25 years. And then you can show the results of your work to back up why you deserve to charge this certain price. Yeah.
I get it. Okay. So, what's a piece of advice you give to an entrepreneur when they're afraid to ask for what they are worth?
What advice would I give? Was to really ditch the imposter syndrome. That's one of the things. Sometimes people question their own worth. Am I really an expert in social media marketing? Am I really this, talk show host? Yeah, but you are. But sometimes people can be paralyzed by their own self-doubt. So I would say to that person, really ditch the imposter syndrome. You are enough. You are experienced enough. You have the qualifications. And also to support that idea that you support around you. So that means being around growth minded people who are in a mind space of being open, being flexible to learning, and to also offering you the right type of not construction, but constructive feedback to help you grow as an individual.
I get it. How does one deal with imposter syndrome? I know you've said ditch the imposter syndrome, but it's like the way I'm looking at it is somebody listening and having imposter syndrome is going to be like, okay, how do I ditch imposter syndrome? So
Have
are
you
there
ditched
like
it?
maybe actionable tips? Mhm.
Right. So I'll give you an example of my own imposter syndrome. Um, it was 2018. I was invited to join a political party and to run as a political candidate. And I would have to say that I had no experience necessarily for that role at the time. However, I had people who believed I could do it. And they said that I had the right type of personality, the values that are attached to it, and I had the right intentions. So it didn't mean that I didn't have this fear of like, oh no, I don't know if I'm good enough to really be this person. Um, I was running against some incredible candidates who we were running for the member of provincial parliament for a huge riding. It was Mississauga Malton. I mean, the riding had like the airport. It had all these incredible businesses, and it had amazing people from different cultures. And I was like, okay, when are they going to figure out that I don't really know that I don't really know exactly what to do every day? But the more I did it, the more I spoke to people, the more confirmation I had that I was doing the right thing. Um, I was able to ditch the imposter syndrome. So I guess to answer your question was to just keep doing it, and eventually when the action will catch up to the confidence, they'll finally meet. It took me just shy of a year to realize, you know what, I'm good at this. I'm really going to be okay doing this position. And then I had people, who were reinforcing that by in action, like volunteering their time, people donating support for the campaign. So that helped to establish the confidence that, yeah, you're doing the right thing. So I hope that
Yeah,
answers your question. Yeah.
that's very helpful. Which is what I pick from there is even when you feel you are not enough to keep
Yeah.
going, because as you keep acting and getting those wins, then reality will catch up with what
And
who you are.
absolutely. And, um, I didn't win the campaign. I was maybe just 2,000 votes short of winning. I came second, but it was the first time I ran, and I had some really stellar candidates that I was running against
Mhm.
in this riding, and I thought that was that was it for me. That was just like a huge confidence boost that I
Mhm.
can do it. And I ran again federally the following year. I didn't win, but every little step helped to build me as a professional and a personal and professionally and personally. And yeah,
Mhm.
so who knows? Maybe there'll be a third time, but my confidence definitely kept elevating every time I took action.
I get you.
Hmm.
Okay, so for example, you talked about some people coming to you and say, hey, perhaps you could run for this position. That's more like somebody seeing you, believing in you. But so based on all that we've talked about, what's your philosophy on attracting clients and collaborators who see your brilliance from the start?
That's a really great question. And I think your vibe attracts your tribe. So that ties in to what I was sharing about being consistent and being present and sticking to your core values. And I try to present myself when I do things on social media as excellent as possible in terms of the messaging and the design. So everything that is put together deliberately, and the wording is the words are chosen to inspire. And when I have opportunities to meet with people, I am very aware. I think emotional intelligence helps too in business, to be aware of your showing up in the dynamics of interacting with people, how you speak, the way you put yourself together, and also how you actively listen to people. That creates an impression. So you always want to create a good impression, and the impression should fall back to the what I mentioned before as the core values. That Dr. Linda, when someone meets you, I feel like they should walk away feeling, wow, that was an incredible exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And that means when you're about to do that, you have to be very deliberate in what you want to do, and very disciplined on how you present it. So these are, the things that I've done over 16 years and continue to do in broadcasting. I made mistakes, and I've gotten better in terms of delivery and messaging and packaging. And I think a very good entrepreneur will know that they have to keep evolving. They have to keep up with the technological changes. And I do a lot of research. I study what is trending, and I also pay attention to not to fall to a lot of the too many changes, because I want to retain who I really am. But I'm open, but I'm like, okay, that seems like a good idea. I support anyone doing it, but that's not really close to my branding. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's good. Can you share a moment when knowing your worth opened the door you would have once thought was too big for you?
Oh, that's a good example of the political campaign that I had. I never really thought that would be a part of my journey, but it certainly was. I think the work that I've done in terms of supporting the Black community, in terms of my work as the immediate past president of the Ontario Black History Society, as a volunteer, working with people on the ground to promote and protect and preserve Black history. When I was elected into that role in 2015, I was very excited because I was very passionate about doing the work, but I had no idea that I would be connecting to the different levels of government, connecting with me about making sure that the references for Blacks and those members of the Black diaspora lined up to what the correct references were, or I was being invited to this, the Prime Minister's um, office or having members of parliament reach out to me. So there was a whole other dimension of the work that I was not prepared for. And I had to quickly catch up and to even kind of change certain aspects of my delivery, like, showing up for a political, not necessarily political, but to be in a room full of dignitaries, I had to, dress a certain way, or I had to be mindful of how to use certain titles for uh, very, very important people in the room. So that was like a huge growth for me over those 2 years. But what it did, it actually prepared me for the political realm, which happened 2 years later, once that role opened up to me. So Dr. Linda, I just look at every experience as just an opportunity for another door to open, and it's really for you to have the courage to walk through that door. Because a lot of people may have these doors open for them, and they're just like, "No, let me close the door. I'm not ready." But then the door may not open again for them, or so I always use every opportunity, every platform that was available to me at that particular timing. And I said, okay, I'm going to try it. I don't know if I'm going to, excel at it, but at least I'm going to try. And that, I think that is the biggest, I think that's the biggest like value for me in having successful experiences, is that I wasn't afraid to try.
I get you. From what you're explaining, it's more like, an opportunity can come, and that opportunity, you may not even be able to see the end of it at that beginning, but having
Exactly.
that mindset to try. And this is really important because for entrepreneurs, a lot of time it can also feel like just focus on your business, just focus on your business,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Just focus on one aspect of the business, but it could be that one aspect is leading you to something bigger. And the fear, it's always fear that'll cripple someone from not going further. And maybe even mistrust in business, where you think that you can't delegate certain pieces of the business to someone else because, oh no, they don't have enough experience, or I just want to hold on, it's my baby, I just want to hold it close to my heart. But after a while, and I had to learn the lesson too, you have to let go, and you have to really smart people who know what they're doing take over in that particular area, and give them full confidence that they're going to add amazing value to the business, and the business is going to be able to support them in the way that they need to grow as individuals. So I'm happy to say that I do have a really incredible team. We communicate well. I'm the type of person that I can say, okay, this is what I'd like, and then I kind of listen also for feedback, and then and then we make the changes as we need to, as we go along. I think it's really important as a business owner to receive feedback, and to feel that you can also give your opinion on something, and not feel, okay, well, I don't really know that part of the business, so I'm not going to say anything. No, it's really important for you to give any kind of feedback. And I try to do everything in the spirit of excellence as best as I can. I recognize that I don't have to be perfect, and that's one of the stumbling blocks too for entrepreneurs, is thinking that the only way that they can start something is to do it like it has to be perfect right away, or they have to know every bit of the business before they start. No, I think you just need to start. Just like I did with the show. I didn't have all the training that I needed in media, but I said, okay, let me take this leap of faith and see what will happen. And then here we are, 16 years later, Dr. Linda talking about, the wisdom of what I've learned
Mhm.
by taking that chance.
Thank you. What's a common blind spot you see in entrepreneurs who are playing small?
Blind spot. Hmm. Yeah. Sometimes they don't ask for what they want.
Hmm.
I think that could be detrimental to any business, is thinking things will land on your lap, but not really doing the work to ask for what you want. So this is what I say: closed mouths don't get contracts.
Hmm.
So if you want funding, you're going to have to ask for it. If you want a partnership, you're going to have to ask for it. If you want expansion, you're going to have to ask for it. And there are different ways that you can ask, through a one-to-one meeting and asking someone, or you can put together a very clever uh, deck. I call a presentation deck, with all the numbers and bells and whistles and price asks, or it could be uh, some kind of flyer, or it could be a video. But you have to find a way to connect outside of your box, your
Mhm.
phone, your laptop, to say, I need help. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're
So,
welcome.
what advice do you have for a new entrepreneur who is starting out that you wish somebody gave you when you were starting out?
I wish someone told me to start sooner. I wish someone told me to not be fearful, and to start as soon as I felt that I should have started.
Hmm.
And I say that when I was teaching, I received a divine whisper, and the divine whisper reminded me that there was a passion that I had of connecting people, of sharing stories. Um, this desire happened very early in my life, maybe as a teenager, but I didn't
Hmm.
really do anything about it. And I ignored the whisper for as long as I could. I think maybe a few years, until the whisper came back louder and louder, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to do this. This is going to be my last year of teaching, and I'm going to develop a business, and I feel it's going to make a difference, and then everything else is going to fall into place." It did, and I'm happy that I took that chance. So, yeah, that's what I would have appreciated: someone saying, "Go for it. Don't
Hmm.
be afraid."
What do you think is what are some of the things that keep people back from starting sooner? Like
Fear.
what's more like the story or
Well, it's the story they tell themselves that they're not going to make it. It's fear of failing, fear of the unknown, fear of lack of funding, fear of being made fun of. It's fear. It's fear. And for me, once I overcame that fear, and I realized that it's really nice on the other side of that wall of fear. There's a whole other world there, and there are people that I could meet that really have changed my life, and I hope that I was able to make a positive impact in their lives, and to really fall into a purpose. And I feel like right now, Dr. Linda, I've fallen to a really amazing alignment of purpose. And not to say the purpose is easy every day, there's some real challenges, but because I understand the assignment of this
Mhm.
purpose, then I'm going to stick to being disciplined in what I know on what to do, and things will come together, and they usually do. Sometimes it's not right away.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes it takes time, but it does get to a place of, oh, I'm so glad I didn't give up. I am so glad that I hung in there. Everything was feeling like I was alone. I was feeling that there was no support. I was feeling like, okay, um, why did I sign up for this? But then it gets to a point past that pressure point that, this all makes sense why I did it this way and why it happened this way.
Mm. Okay. What's next for you? Any project, book, movement on the horizon that you're
Yes.
excited about?
Yes, there's always something going on. The Nikki Clarke show is back with more tapings. Going to be taping this month at a new location, a beautiful studio in Toronto, and always looking for new guests for upcoming tapings in June and July in Toronto. If you're in Toronto, love to hear from you. And then also May 30th and 31st, the Nikki Clarke show is partnering with the World Travel, Trade and Taste Expo. It's an organization out of Switzerland. They are coming to Toronto for those 2 days at the Metro Convention Center. And I have this amazing opportunity to have conference panel speakers for those 2 days. So I'm looking for speakers, maybe connected back to what the conference is about, and to share their expertise, their product, their service during that expo time. And then August 4th and 5th, I am organizing with the Affinity Global Trade and Investment Inc. We have the Canada Africa Trade and Investment Expo that will be at the Toronto Airport Marriott. So that's August 4th and 5th. Toronto Airport Marriott is 901 Dixon Road. So it's close to the airport. And again, 2 days of amazing networking. I understand that the Vice President of Nigeria will be there amongst other dignitaries to talk about having business in Africa and beyond. Looking forward to that. So if you want more information, happy to share that.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Let me just ask you some clarifying questions so that we can tailor it down to like who who should be contacting you. So for the Nikki Clark show, what kind of guests are you looking for?
Guests from all walks of life who may have a business, may have an event going on, who have a particular project, or we have authors come on the show. Anything that subscribes to a positive mindset and about helping people become unstuck in their personal, professional lives. So that really opens up to a lot of different amazing people, and to come on and to share their heart story. So that information gets shared once the interview is done on social media, on YouTube, and it's also aired on Afro Global Television, which is another incredible partner. Afro Global Television is a network that is carried on 6 different cable channels across Canada. And I believe it is seen in parts of Nigeria and Ethiopia. And very happy to have the partnership with Patricia and Moses Mawa, who are the owners of Afro Global Television.
Okay. All right. So let's look at the World Trade one. World Trade World Travel Trade Expo. If I get
Mm-hmm.
that right. Yeah. Who should be attending such the event?
Yeah, I think people who are involved in trade, investment, entrepreneurs who may have travel businesses, those who are looking to export maybe one of their particular food specialties. maybe that is something that would help them connect to a wider audience. So yeah, World Travel, Trade, and Taste Expo, definitely for them.
Okay, it's okay. I think the one on investments you already mentioned. People who are willing to look at investments and investing in Africa as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a wonderful time to look at opportunities in Africa, and we're happy to make those connections through panel speakers and dignitaries arriving from different parts of Africa. We have delegates from Uganda, Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, and the list goes on.
Okay. I have a question here from Nathaniel. So Nathaniel is asking, as a young creative, how do I gain confidence in putting myself out and not selling myself cheap?
Yeah. Well, I always say network, get out there and let people know who you are. When I started the show, I think I scheduled maybe 3 to 4 networking events a week. So it's about making those connections. How are people going to know unless you put yourself out there? So, Nathaniel, I would recommend that you strategically look for networking opportunities. You'll see a number of them online, maybe through Eventbrite or other sources, and then pick ones that resonate with you and then go and make those connections. Have business cards or QR codes ready so that people can find you on, your social media or your website. And then don't undervalue your worth. As I mentioned before, stick to your vision and stick to your prices. Don't undervalue your product or your service, because it communicates that you're not sure about the value that you're offering, but you should be absolutely certain of the time that you've put into this particular product or service, and the overhead costs have to be factored in, and that's very important. So I hope that helps you.
I get it. This is my last question, by the way.
Okay.
What's the one question you wish that I asked you that I have not asked you yet?
We've covered a lot of different topics. So I think maybe the question you could ask is, how do you balance it all? How do you balance the business with the personal?
Yeah, so please go ahead.
I'll answer that question. So I have learned that rest is part of productivity. I used to think that rest was the enemy of productivity, but as I get younger, I have learned that really putting aside time for self-care is essential for an entrepreneur. If you want to provide the best energy, showing up in spaces, you can't do that if you're tired, you're sluggish. It will show up in your appearance, it'll show up in your delivery, it'll show up in your energy. I'm very sensitive to energy and that kind of thing. So rest, at least 7 to 8 hours a day, and also to fill your spirit up with good things. Read things that fill up your soul. Listen to things that fill up your soul. I listen to a lot of music, and then I pray, or people may meditate, but something that can fill you up spiritually, as well as taking care of your body, exercise, go to the gym, or just go for a walk. That helps to declutter when you're in spaces of nature. Declutter your mind, and stick to something, a healthy diet. I use the 80-20 rule. Try to eat a balanced meal 80% of the time, and then you can have cheesecake once in a
Hmm.
while. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's life. You want to enjoy life, and I like to have really good foodie experiences, and yeah, and be around people who lift you up. So, yeah, that is important to have balance. It can be a challenge in the first few years of business because
Mhm.
you think you have to just throw your whole self into the business. But if at any time you feel like your health is being challenged, your relationships are being challenged, then you need to stop and pivot and put more balance in that.
Mhm.
And yeah, you'll end up
Thank you very
just
much.
fine. Yeah,
Thank you very much. It has been an amazing time learning from
thank
your
you.
wealth of experiences that
Thank you
you've
so
had
much.
throughout the course of the years running multiple businesses. Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Dr. Linda, for this chance to share. Sometimes I get a little nervous because I'm used to being the one to ask all the questions, but I appreciate, the range of questions. I thought they were amazing, and I hope someone was able to take something away from this conversation.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much. And to those watching, wish you goodbye.
Thank you. Have a good night, and don't sell yourself short in business.